let's get started, and I'm sure more people will be joining us. So, welcome. My name is Magdalena Ponurska, and oh, hi, Andy. It's great to see you. Virtually speaking, and I have my Substack is called Courage to Create, and I invited Tamar Stolz from mapping to workshop. Today we were going on Zoom, but then we're going to be all about experimenting and trying something new. So we're doing this workshop on live. We're going to mix in some slides, which is going to be a very interesting experience. And the other part that I'm super excited is that this is not a tech tutorial, which is great because I'm apparently today is my day that technology doesn't like me. It's an emotional design workshop. So I will let Tamar introduce herself, but as a side note, I met Tamar in the void, in the Substack void, and we really connected and deeply resonate what in terms of focusing on the emotional design rather than the technical. And what I love and appreciate about Tamar is that she is she is a very deep thinker. And when I think a couple weeks ago, when I was talking to her, she told me the story of how she came up with the mapping method by spending 2 days and doing it on her own. And I was like, oh my God, this is so cool. I want to do it. I want to do it. So we're going to be sharing tomorrow, and myself will be sharing some of those some of the wisdom that she gathered in the process. And thank you so much for joining us. And Tamar, please introduce yourself.
Yeah. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. My name is Tamar Stolz. I am the founder of the Action Mapping Method. And I joined Substack officially last year, November of 24. But I was really just producing my podcast on there. I really was not familiar at all with the platform. And I pretty much just came in there once a week to click, upload the video and send it out to the different platforms that I was on. And it's been like 3 months now, I think, about 3 months that I went all in on Substack, trying to just, figure things out. So, 2 seconds about me. I worked in corporate for a little over 5 years as a UX strategist and workshop facilitator. I really enjoyed my job as a UX designer. I did not enjoy the corporate environment at all. But in the 5 years that I was there, I really, really learned a lot about user experience design. And while I was focused more in the software industry, what I learned is that user experience design happens all around us. We're constantly designing experiences for ourselves, whether it's at work, whether it's at home, no matter who you are constantly creating experiences for the people that you interact with. Even if you're sitting with a friend at a coffee shop, right? The way that you are talking, the way that you're sitting, the way you hold yourself, you're creating an experience for the other person. And so taking that, mindset and experience with me as a user experience designer, I really started to view, I guess, really the world through the lens of my work being creating an experience for the person that I'm being called to serve or that I'm working with. And so when I decided to go all in on Substack, one of the first things that I did was sit down and figure out, okay, like, what am I doing here? Who am I talking to? Who is my subscriber? What do they look like? Where are they? Where are they in life? How can I meet them where they're at? And I just started to ask myself all these kinds of things. And that's really how I ended up creating my Substack. And so I guess Magdalena was talking about, she sat down and figured out how to, create her Substack. This is really just the natural way that I, go about doing things, in general. And what I realized is that this is something that I guess you could call my strategic or unfair advantage. I don't know, a method that I've created that I thought came naturally to others, but really, in fact, did not. The good news is that the action mapping method, although it's a methodology that I created, it is just a tangible method to access something that already exists in your brain. So I didn't create that. That's just the human brain, and that's just being able to connect with the way our brains work. But it's invisible. We don't see it. And so the action mapping method is a way to make that invisible process visible, tangible, and a way to just, engage with how your brain works to make, lasting success and gain momentum and see the results. So um, that's my long introduction. I'm really excited to be here with you guys. That's who I am. That's what I do. And thank you so much for having me, Magdalena. I'm excited.
Absolutely. So I'm going to ask first some silly questions for non-technical, and welcome, Melissa. And for all of our listeners and subscribers, if there's something that deeply resonates with you that Tamar is saying, just put 3 exclamation marks in the chat so we know that you are loving it and that you are getting a value from this. So my first silly question, non-technical people, can you explain in like 2 sentences what is the UX design and designer? What is it that the UX designers do? Because I know that there is a lot of talk about that, and then when I know that the people are also like, okay, this sounds great, but I don't know what is it that you actually do and how do I do it in my life. I know you've mentioned it a little bit in your share, but if you can just give us like, how would you explain it? Oh, I know. Explain it to my mom who is 70 years old.
Yeah. So a user experience designer is almost always somebody who works with a piece of technology, a software, or works in a software company. And the job of the UX designer is to create an enjoyable experience for the humans or the users who interact with that piece of technology. So you have a software company, you sell your software, and my job is to improve your software to make it more user-friendly, more accessible, and to really make sure that the structure and the foundation of your software is meeting the needs of your users. So site navigation, the way that a user walks through like the workflow of the website or the application, right? Whenever you say like you're really frustrated because the technology is not working, that's a job. The UX designer is responsible to create an enjoyable experience for the user. So we work with the business to make sure that the business objective goals are being met. And we work with the users to make sure that our software is delivering the solution that they need and bridging the gap, when necessary.
Okay, perfect. So user, it's a human. And if there is a problem with a software that I'm using or an app that I'm using and I'm very frustrated, I can blame it on the designer.
Or maybe the developer who made the decision without consulting with the designer. A UX designer, if you think about it like a construction project, the UX designer is the architect. Okay? So the UX designer is an architect. We're the one who lays out the blueprints. We're the one who works with the contractor and the person who's building, let's say if it's a home. We work with the homeowner to understand what is it that they need in their home. What rooms do they need? What layouts do they want? How many floors? How many rooms? All of that. And then we work with the builder to say, okay, here's the list of needs. This is what we're trying to create. This is the way that we've creatively reimagined how this house can look. Is this something that, that you, the builder, can do? And what's the most efficient way to get it done?
I love it. This is the best explanation I've ever gotten from anyone. So you are the architect. So now let's talk about the architecture of our Substack or newsletter in general. If people just want a higher or 10,000 feet view. So we all, for the next 30 minutes or so, we all get to be architects of our Substack or our newsletter. And so let's put that hat on. So that's number one. If you are able, I'm going to invite you to take out the old-fashioned notebook and a pen, so you can actually do some architecting, if that's a word, with us, and not only take a note, but also start thinking about how would you want to design your Substack or your newsletter, or if you don't have a Substack, how do you want to design your life? Because I think the questions that and the method that you have is also very relevant to your life. And then we're not going to focus so much on the technical aspect, as we mentioned in the beginning, because from the technical perspective, there is so much. I feel like there's so much with Substack that would take us probably 3 days to go through all of it. But we're going to start with the blueprint. So, Tamar, in terms of like the 10,000 view, where where should I start as the user? Actually, as the human being. I will just use the human being rather than user for the non-technical people like me.
Yeah, it's a great question. So
Where
I think,
would yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, sorry. So, where would I start designing, or where would I start my blueprint? I'm other than with an empty page.
Yeah.
What's my step number one?
Yes. So, okay, amazing. So as you explained, right? So when people come to Substack, what are some of the first things that they do? They go to their bio, they go to their banner, they go to their publication name, and they get very busy with all the different technical, tactical details that come with setting up a Substack, right? So what you have to remember is that you're not designing a setup, okay? It is a setup, but you're creating an experience, okay? Substack is not just about what you publish. It's about the people that you're publishing for, right? What do those people feel when they're interacting with you? And so there's, I guess, 4 steps that we're going to walk through that explain or give a 10-foot view, 10,000-foot view of what does it look like when you come to create your Substack. What are the things that you should consider and the steps that you should take so that you're creating the most incredible experience for the people who will come to your Substack? So the first thing is step 1.
Perfect. So I'm going to interrupt you, okay, for a second. I'll be doing a lot of interruptions. Okay. So welcome, Marshall, and welcome, William. If you just joined us, we are starting with an empty page that Tamar is going to walk us through and show us what we can put on that page. If you have, just grab a pen, piece of paper, and work along with us, because this is about experience. It's not about technology. Hence, we're using the old-fashioned things. So this way, by the end of this workshop, you walk away with knowing exactly who your ideal reader, subscriber, member, your ideal human being is. And thank you for joining us. Okay, step 1.
Okay, so step one is the first impression. Okay, so we're going to start with the very first thing that someone sees. Before they read a single word of your work, they've already decided certain things about you. Okay, your name, your tagline, your tone, it's all sending a message. So here's the question that we have to ask ourselves. What does someone feel the moment that they land on your Substack? Do they feel confused? Do they feel intrigued? Do they know exactly what you're about? Or do they have to scroll down to figure it out? I want you to give this a minute of thought and just really ask yourself, when someone comes to my Substack landing page, what do they feel in those first 10 seconds? What do they feel about me? What conclusions are they drawing? What judgments are they making? Right, for the good or for the bad? That's number one, is the first impression.
And I love that. It's to me, it's such a powerful question. Uh, how does the slide look on Tamar? Because I've never done this before, so I'm really curious.
Yeah, I think it's good.
Awesome. Okay, perfect. So the first impression, when I think about my ideal client, my ideal human being that comes to my Substack, what I would for them to feel is be inspired, and more than that, to know why are they why did I click on Courage to Create. So hopefully they are looking for some inspiration, empowerment about taking courageous steps. So now I get to ask myself, when um, William comes and clicks on Courage to Create, and I'm going to use myself as an example, just so we can really help you to drive drive the understanding, and that you get a full value from this workshop. So again, back to William, and I'm picking up on William because you are the last person that just joined. When William clicks on Courage to Create or the action mapping method Substack, what is it that he feels in the first 10 seconds? And I love that, Tamar, that you picked 10 seconds, because the psychology and neuroscience has shown over and over that we actually make the first impression in the first 3 seconds, right? So the first 10 seconds, someone comes to my Substack home, and the question is, do they feel welcome? Do they feel confused? And it's okay. And to Tamar's point, it's okay if someone comes and they feel confused, right? Because this is our opportunity to go back and redesign. So I will use myself as an example. I know that in this stage of my Substack, when people come to my Substack, there is a high likelihood that they will feel confused, because I've loaded it up with so much content and I haven't gone back to make it simple, right? So my next step is to start here and make it easier to digest, because right now it's just overloaded, and that's okay. I'm not I'm okay with that, and but I get to examine my own stuff at home or my newsletter. How does someone feel when they jump in? Anything to add to this, Tamar?
No, actually, I mean, that's amazing. And that's really, I mean, that's step number 2, pretty much, is emotional resonance.
Perfect.
So, yeah. So, I mean, and I missed I don't know if you said, I wasn't sure if you said that, because I'm getting occasional like freezing on my end. So what you just covered is step number 2. which is emotional resonance. Did you say that, or were you just adding on to number one?
I was just examining number one, and then then you can move to step number two, which is emotional resonance, and how does it resonate with human beings? Because we're back to human beings.
Yeah. Yeah. So, emotional resonance. So feelings, right? We all have feelings. And so people are going to come to your Substack. They're going to subscribe because they feel something, right? Whether it's personal, whether it's something that's powerful, something that's intriguing to them. On Substack, we have the opportunity to follow someone and to subscribe to someone. And what I've found in my experience is when someone seems like, okay, there's something really interesting here. I'd love to learn more about this person. I will follow them. But if there's something that just strikes a chord that says, yes, this is what I'm looking for, I will hit subscribe. So what is that spark, that feeling of yes, right? That automatically connects me to this Substack. I don't need to see anything more. I don't need to learn anything more. There's something here that gives me a sense of either belonging or inspiration or feeling like I've been heard or I've been seen or I want to learn more from this person. This person shares an experience that I have, right? So the question that we want to ask ourselves for step number 2 of creating our Substack is what feeling do I want to create when people land on my page, when people are learning about what I'm doing? What is this feeling that I want to create for people to connect with, right? And sometimes it's what we write about, okay? Sometimes it might be a picture, right? It could be there are so many different visual ways to tell a story, to share something. And so what is this experience that I want to create for someone, this feeling specifically when they come and learn more about my Substack or about my newsletter, about my publication? So I want everyone to just stop for a minute and think to yourself, what is it that I want my readers to feel? And you can write it out in a sentence, right? I want readers to feel blank when they see my publication or when they read my publication. What is this sense of connection, this way of feeling um, drawn to, I want to learn more about you. I might need a service that you're providing, or I might want to learn more about the work you're doing. Because that's a really important piece.
Perfect. So, um, can you say the second one? I might need the service
Mm-hmm.
is that X is providing. Perfect. So that's a fantastic question. I personally prefer feelings than services. So for myself, I wrote that I want my humans to feel empowered, to get into action, to feel safe. For me, psychological safety is very important. So when people come into my Substack home, I really want them to feel emotionally safe, emotionally connected, feel part of the community, feel part of belonging, have the experience of, I'm not the only one out there struggling with X, Y, and Z. Um, those are the main things that jump out at me personally. In terms of services, so when I think about services, I would have to use my coaching service coaching statement. So it would be I might need the service of leadership empowerment that Magdalena is providing. But those are just examples that anyone listening to this and can you are more than welcome to borrow from me. Tamar, do you have any examples from your own life?
For creating That for emotional
like
resonance, you mean?
the state, yeah, like the state, emotional resonance, like for yourself.
So for me, it's really about making my readers feel that they have someone who finally understands them and can meet them where they're at. So some of it is feeling validated. I think a lot of it is really just um, here's someone who is trustworthy, who is honest and
Mm.
transparent. I don't necessarily care what she's doing. I don't know what the action mapping method is, but as a person, she has the same core values as I do. Therefore, I want to get to know her more.
Oh, I love it. So core value, in terms of like the pillar, and one of your pillars is trust, and so I think that's and that's why that's now I understand why we resonate so well, because mine is trust and safety. So again, so this is, as a pro tip is, if you are looking for collaboration, look for someone that really resonates with your core values, and then you will find a perfect person to collaborate with. Okay, fantastic. I love that. Those are great. Those are great examples. Okay, now we can move to step 3.
Yeah. And if anybody has any ideas, like feel free to put it in the chat. Like I'm excited to hear what other people are doing also. So this is a perfect segue into step number 3 when creating our Substack. So we understand, number 1, we want to understand, what is this first impression? In the first 10 seconds, what is this impression that people are getting? Number 2 is emotional resonance. What are they feeling when they read our publication, or when they, land on the page? What is this feeling that they're getting? Number 3 is trust and belonging. So this one is my favorite. It's, why do people stay? Right? It's not going to be because of how often you post, and it's not going to be because of how pretty your design is. People stay because they feel like they belong. People stay because you feel like you're giving them a sense of identity, of meaning, that there's a shared language, that there's a sense of deep trust and validation. And so this step is really critical, and it's super important for you to sit down and ask yourself, what space am I holding for my readers, for my subscribers, right? Are you the place that people go to feel brave? Are you the place people go to feel validated, to feel less alone? Are you the place people go to get practical tips, right? To take action, to get a 3-step process to quickly implement something that they're having a challenge with, right? So what is it that gets people to stay with you? Not that you have to beg them to stay, but that they won't want to leave.
Yeah, I love that. No begging. Perfect. So, what space are you creating? A space that will like really want to stay with you, and then just keep writing, keep writing. That's where the gold lives, and that's where you will be able to get the best insights and best ideas. And again, none of it's perfect. This is all work in progress. But again, it's just looking deep inside yourself, and that's where you will get the best results, because it's coming from you. It's coming from your heart, from your intuition, not from AI. And we won't talk about that yet. uh, Perfect. So okay. So examples. So for me, the space that I am creating is a space of safety, psychological safety, belonging, and becoming part of a tribe. So my tribe is incredibly kind. It's incredibly supportive. I love the fact that when one of us has a bad day and someone like puts things in the DM or in the chat, there is 100 of people that are saying, "You're not the only one. I'm dealing with the same thing. Keep going." So there's also a lot of encouragement and cheering each other on. Um, and I love that there is no competition without my community. It's just pure your love and support and kindness. And I could not be more happy about being in that space, because that's where, if I'm going to spend my days in digital world, I want to have a space that is just that amazing. So that's for me. How about you, Tamar?
Yeah. I think there's one thing that I would just add for people is a trap that I fell into early on that I've become more aware of as time goes on is sometimes my needs as as a coach or a mentor might be different in terms of what I look for in a coach and what my clients or my subscribers or users need. So for example, I might be looking for a community of people who I can bounce things off of and get some practical tips and guidance and advice. That might be like what my needs are as a coach. But what I found is oftentimes my clients and the people who pay membership are or come to challenges are people who don't necessarily want that practical, but they just want more of listening, of empathy, of understanding, of meeting them where they're at because they have too many practical frameworks that they've invested in and they just need a place to really understand themselves and map themselves out. And that is what my whole action mapping method is returning to yourself and uncovering who you are. And so I think it's important to remember that this step number 3 of creating this trust and belonging is all about your reader, your subscriber, right? It's about meeting them where they're at. What are they looking for that they're trusting you? So being able to create that environment for them and not putting your needs, what you think they need or what you might need, right, first. So it's an interesting thing to think about. You might assume that just because, you might enjoy being in bigger groups, your subscribers might be the kind of people who enjoy smaller groups, right? Or vice versa. There are so many different ways that people connect, that people learn. Some people really enjoy smaller, intimate, in-person events, and some people enjoy these massive online virtual events. So there's so many different ways that people can connect. And I think it's really important to really, this is where understanding your subscriber or your reader, really understanding who they are and what their challenges are and meeting them where they're at. What can you bring to the table to help them get to that next step? And it might not be what would help you get to your next step if you were in their situation. So just, keeping that in mind as you're asking yourself, why are my readers coming to me? What am I bringing to the table to help them and to equip them with the tools? What does it look like for them? And just putting yourself in their place is important.
I love it. That's a great tip about needs and empathy. Okay, and then step number 4.
Okay, so the final step is momentum, right? So this is important because at the end of the day, you have to understand what kind of transformation are you helping them create, right? No matter what it is you're writing about, writing about marketing, you're writing about motherhood, you're writing about music. I don't know. There's some shift that's happening, and so whatever they're walking away with, they're going to be thinking differently, acting differently, feeling differently, getting different results, right? So I think what's really important to remember, this piece of momentum, is asking yourself, what change am I helping people create in their own lives? Right? What what is it that I'm giving over? What tools am I equipping them with to help them gain this momentum? That if I wasn't here, they'd be able to stand on their own and be successful. Because there's some sort of transformation that you are enabling them to get to create for themselves. Obviously, of course, with you as a guide, right? But giving them this empowerment to create this momentum for themselves is really important. And so to understand for yourself, again, what am I helping? What transformation am I helping my readers create in their own lives? And when you are clear on this, you're going to see that your Substack is going to become more than just content, right? It becomes a journey. And that's what when we talk about creating this journey, creating this experience for our readers, we do this by getting clear on these 4 things, by understanding what is the first impression people have, by understanding what are people feeling, what is this emotional resonance that people say, yes, this is what I want. Moving on to step 3, trust and belonging, saying, not only is this what I want, but I don't want to leave this thing, right? I need this. This is incredibly validating, gives me courage, helps me be a better person, helps me be a better professional, better person, whatever it might be. And not only does it help me, but it helps me actually gain momentum and create transformation in my life and in the lives of the people that I've been called to serve. So the last question here that we need to ask ourselves is, what change am I helping people create in their own lives? And again, these 4 questions are ones that I revisit all the time. I'm making changes all the time, right? Things are always changing. Things are always evolving. People's needs are changing. This is not like a said and done, right? Like you set up your Substack, check in the box. That's very tactical. This is not about tactical. This is about an experience, about a journey. People are always on a journey, and you're meeting them at different points in their journey. You're on a journey too, right? So being able to revisit this is really important. It's not just a check in the box that you did it today. This is a blueprint, and you'll come back to it and you'll say, okay, the 4 levers of my Substack, what's going on? And revisit it and adjust it, because we're all human and our needs are always changing and we're always on a journey. So, yeah.
Perfect. And that's exactly what I wanted to highlight, is that the person that I am today is very different from the person that I was 3 months ago, 3 months ago, and 6 months ago, and 12 months ago. So when you're thinking about your Substack or your newsletter, just like Tamar said, um, this is not once and done. It's continuously changing. I have rebranded twice. I have rewritten my about page 7 times. I just continuously keep experimenting because I'm not the same person, and the people that I'm attracting, and my subscribers, my members, are constantly changing. And I love that what you said, that it's not so much about the technical, it's about remembering the emotional aspect, right? So it's me going back over and over to those 4 questions, and maybe once a week, I don't know, maybe at least once a month, going back and asking myself uh, those four questions. When someone comes, what do they feel? Is it emotionally resonating? There is such a pressure to have it all done perfectly, and perfection just doesn't exist. It's part of the growth. It's part of the journey. I love the analogy of the Substack River. Actually, Sarah Fay talks about the river of knowns. For me, it's more like the river of Substack. And as you know, you can never step into the same river twice, right? So we are changing. The algorithm is changing. Our subscribers are changing. It's a constant change. So I think the biggest thing, for me, if there's one thing you are going to take away from this workshop, is outside of the 4 questions and coming back to them, is give yourself permission to be okay with the change, and to be okay with not having it perfect. It will give you a lot of freedom. It will prevent from the digital overwhelm and the burnout and all the negative things. It's okay not to be perfect. It's okay to keep changing. It's okay to keep rewriting your welcome emails 77 times. It's just part of our, and this is where I will circle it back to being a human and writing for other humans, and just remembering that, right? That's my biggest takeaway from what we talked about today. If you can take a couple of minutes and put in the chat your biggest takeaway in one or two words. I know it's very challenging. That would be fantastic. And Tamar, for you having gone through this journey, what would you say it's one pearl of wisdom that you can share with everyone that they can take away from this work?
I would say that the most important thing is to know who you are, what you're doing, what impact you're trying to make, and don't get caught up by all the chaos and all the noise and all the self-appointed gurus out there who are going to tell you what you should do and how you should do it. At the end of the day, you know yourself best. And that doesn't mean you shouldn't invest in programs and courses and coaches, and it doesn't mean that. I do too. And if they're going to help you become a better person and uncover your true potential, then they're the right fit. But if they're going to try to impose what they feel is the best thing that you should do and show you exactly how to do it, that you should just copy and paste it, you're not going to be successful. It needs to be in alignment with who you are and what you're trying to do. And that is really what I've found to be so incredible about Substack. I just find so many people who are so confident to just be themselves and share whatever it is that they want to share, whether it's an expertise, an experience, their life, tips, tricks, whatever it might be. There's just an authentic tone across the board. And that is ultimately why I ended up going all in 3 months ago, because I just felt like I could block out some of the noise, right? There's noise everywhere. We live in 2025, but if you have this map, ask yourself these 4 questions. It will become your anchor, and it will become, the 4 questions that you can return to, that you can stay focused and understand, instead of, chasing all the algorithms and trying to, listen to all these self-appointed gurus. You're going to make decisions based on what you know to be right, but also your reader's journey and the journey that you're creating and the experience that you're creating for everybody who's coming to you.
Perfect. I love it. So knowing yourself works over and over and over again. Fantastic. I absolutely love it. I've learned a lot. So thank you so much, Tamar, for doing this with me. It's been such a joy and such a pleasure, and I'm just blown away and so grateful in terms of how this experiment worked out amazingly, and that even this, we were able to leverage some of the slides as a thank you, and as a bonus, we'll include the slides in the email that everyone gets. So our hard work does not go to waste. But thank you for your flexibility to work with me and keep changing formats and just playing and being okay with it, and being okay with change.
Absolutely.
I appreciate you, and thank you so much for doing this with me today.
Of course.
And
thank you so much
everyone
for having
joining.
me.
Awesome. Thanks, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.